How's it going, you guys? NewAge here with our next week's episode of our top 10 anything goes Pokemon. So this week we got my top 10 favorite ghost types. Now I wanted to do this for Halloween, but I didn't get a chance to. But I mean, hey, here it is now. I don't really have much to say like I usually do. I mean, it's top 10, it's ghost types, and all I can say is you may be a little bit surprised. Maybe. If you know me well enough, you may be surprised to see who we get down to once we get towards the number ones and all that good stuff and all that good suches and everything. So without further ado, let's jump on in. So my number 10 ghost type Pokemon definitely gotta be Mismagius. Now, Mismagius is cool and everything. There's just something about it that never really made it one of my favorite ghost type Pokemon. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never really liked Misdrevious to begin with. So them giving it an evolution of a Pokemon that I already wasn't too crazy about, I was just like, alright. I mean, it does look cool. It looks cooler than like a cooler version of Mismagius, which, you know, that's the job of evolutions of Pokemon. I mean, maybe not in Quagsire's case. Yeah, because it's right there. One of the things I have liked about it is that it's always been pretty fast. That's one of the things that I do like about it the most. That it's like really reliably fast. And just the fact that Misdrevious did get an evolution. I mean, all those evolutions that came from Diamond, Pearl, Platinum were pretty awesome, and Mismagius, gotta admit, is one of them. On a side note, the lady from Pokemon Conquest, Mismagius lady, she wasn't too bad looking, so that definitely helps. So that's going to be my number 10. Moving on to my number 9 on this list of spooky ghost type Pokemons. So for my number 9 ghost type, we are going to have ourselves Cofagrigus. Now, Cofagrigus competitively, I have always loved. I've never seen a ghost Pokemon be so defensively bulky. It's insane. I literally am just like blown away when I see how bulky this thing is and how well it takes hits like every time. It never ceases to amaze me. Also, the concept of it is pretty cool, because up until Cofagrigus, it seemed to me like a lot of the ghosts were just kind of like floating ghostly creatures, with the exception of Rotom. I mean, I guess you could say Gen 4 they stopped doing that, but then again, I mean, Rotom, all it does is just kind of like possess objects that already exist. This one is not really a ghost possessing something and taking it over. This is more like this thing is haunted, and it's like a haunted tombstone, or not tombstone. What's coffin? Whatever. Yeah. Okay, I can talk right now. So yeah, that along with its competitiveness has always been insanely awesome to me. On top of all that, there is always this little thing that I have to show you guys that has made me love Cofagrigus, so you enjoy that.
No. He just fucking flails. Look at it. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. It's fucking nice.
So with that being said, let's move on to number 8. So for number 8, we've got Gourgeist. And honestly, I wanted this Pokemon to be lower on the list, as in like closer to number 1, because I really do like it a lot. I just can't help it. The other Pokemon that come before this one on the list are just they're just better. I can't help it. Also, is its stomach lighting up? That's cool. I never even noticed that, but it's nighttime right now, so that's awesome. So one of the things, like I said, I really like it a lot. It's just unfortunately, this was one of my Pokemon that I kind of thought when I first saw it, like, really, this is supposed to be a Pokemon? And that happens every gen when they have new Pokemon, and it's just recently that I started telling myself, like, come on now, don't think that way, you're eventually gonna like this Pokemon. And it was just hard at first. I was just like, there's no way they made this a Pokemon, this is so stupid. And it didn't help that X and Y was coming out around Halloween, because then it just made it seem even more ridiculous, like, really, you're gonna, like, make a Halloween Pokemon like that? I just thought they were, like, really pushing the creativity, but as usual, like I said, over time, came to love this Pokemon, and it's really cool. One of the things I like about it the most is it's like the physical version of Trevenant, the physically defensive version with Trevenant, except it has a really crazy move pool with, like, explosion and then flame charge and all that fun stuff. On top of that, the different sizes thing, I really like that. Like, it was a really cool idea. So like I said, I wish this Pokemon was lower on the list. I just couldn't I just couldn't make it happen. I don't know why. I couldn't help it. But there's definitely a lot of respect for this Pokemon, and that's where it has to be on the list. I'm sorry guys. So moving on now to number 7. Now, I feel like a lot of you guys are gonna get mad at me for this, but Gengar is gonna be my number 7. And you know what I said earlier about how ghost types being just like these ghostly blob kind of figures? Well, here you go. I mean, granted, there's all that stuff about Gengar being Clefable Shadow and Doppelganger and all that cool stuff, which I totally believe. But if I were to ignore that, which is not even like a confirmed fact, I don't believe. If I were to ignore that, this is what I'm left with, just a kind of a blob of a Pokemon. But that being said, this was also one of the first ghost types, and one of the only ghost types of its generation. So Gengar representing the ghost types on its spiky little back, that is definitely worth noticing. Even when Gen 2 came around, all there was Mismagius, I'm pretty sure. So even then, I mean, when you're gonna choose between Gengar and Mismagius, come on now, you're gonna choose Mismagius or Mischievous. My bad. I'm sorry. You know what I meant. So really, there weren't really that many ghost types to come around till Gen 3. So I don't know. Maybe because all they could think of were blobs, and they wanted to hold off until they come up with something better. Anyways, you gotta have respect. Gotta have respect for that OG ghost type, and that's exactly what Gengar is. So Gengar gonna be my number 7. Let's move on down now to number 6. So for number 6, I'm just gonna say this. You all know how much I love me some Mr. Tickles. The only bad thing I have to say about Sableye is that I wish I battled competitively before 6th gen, because I love using this thing. Prankster Pokemon are so hilarious in competitive play, and one without weaknesses is even better. So Sableye would have been just so much fun. I am so sad I missed out on that. Also, another thing I love, just the giant smile on its face as it's being like the biggest douche of all time to your whole entire team. It's too much. It's too much to where I can't just enjoy having fun with this thing. So Prankster with only one weakness, who loves taking care of business, yeah, that's Sableye. Enough said, aka Mr. Tickles. So that's gonna be my number 6. Moving down now to my number 5, Ghost type Pokemon. So for number 5, we are gonna have ourselves some Spiritomb. Now, granted it's number 5, Spiritomb actually makes me kinda sad, because if Spiritomb had the same stats and same ability as Sableye, honestly, I would never use Sableye, because on top of it sharing the no weakness thing with Sableye, Spiritomb just looks so cool. Like, oh my gosh, especially in this gen, like the 3D sprite. Look at that! Look at that! That is beautiful. I just love how well they made this thing work out. And battling against it with against Cynthia, I mean, any of Cynthia's Pokemon, they already get that credibility right there. But then battling it and learning it had no weaknesses, you're just like, hello, this thing is terrifying. I mean, granted, Sableye came first, but I didn't know Sableye had no weaknesses back in the day. So we're just gonna act like that didn't happen. So I mean, it's just how it looks, honestly, is so great. I wish it had Prankster. If they make a Mega, it should have Prankster. I mean, Mega with Prankster doesn't work so well, but with a typing like this where it's only weak to Fairy, it could totally take a hit while it can Mega Evolve and get that Prankster going. Yeah, he knows. He knows. Also, it has that cool little backstory. So, with the Keystone and the Possession and all that good stuff. So, you always gotta appreciate when Nintendo goes that little extra mile for their Pokemon. So, that's why Spiritomb is gonna be my number 5. Let's move on now to number 4. Now, we are definitely getting into some spooky territories here with this one. For number 4, we're gonna have Bayonet. And like I said, we didn't get any real Ghost till Gen 3, right? Well, this is what I mean. This right here, Mrs. Bayonetta. I've always thought Bayonet was super cool. Like back when I was a kid, and I had no idea how to use Pokemon. I just didn't care. I just knew I wanted this thing. Like, I don't know why, but there's some Pokemon when you see them, I mean, it still happens to this day. You see them and you're just like, dang, I gotta use this thing. I don't care what it does. I just know it needs to beat my Pokemon. I mean, also too, I don't know about you guys, but when I was little, I thought puppets and dolls were really creepy. So, this really plays on that, I think, to make a really cool ghost type. Like how I said, you know, Pokemon were just blobs and stuff. Bayonet doesn't have that much, too much design to it, I don't think. But, just the fact that you could kind of tell it is something and not just a blob, definitely makes me like it a bit better than the average bear right there. So, Bayonet, gonna go ahead and be my number 4 ghost typey Pokemon. Let's move on now. Number 3. So, when it comes, or should I say after playing Pokemon for so many years, I'm normally pretty set in my ways as far as which Pokemon I do and don't like. So it really takes a lot for a Pokemon to get so close to my number number 1. There you go. While being a new Pokemon. But Trevenant is something special. Like I said, as a 5th gen, they've been playing around with what they could do with ghost type Pokemon. Big time. I mean, so Haunted Tree comes to mind. Not bad. I like it. I mean, Nintendo really thought ahead here, right? Like, they're gonna make a ghost type Pokemon for Halloween that was a pumpkin. So, they figure, what comes after Halloween? Christmas. They gotta make I can't talk right now. They gotta make a Christmas tree too, right? Plan ahead for them holidays. On top of that, this thing is really fun competitively. I've realized I really like ghost type Pokemon competitively. They're also gimmicky, and I love me some gimmicky. I mean, you give it a Lumberry with Harvest as its ability, and this thing is just eating up status moves all day long, while dishing out the burns of its own, just crippling a whole opponent's team, sucking their life away with Leech Seed. I mean, this thing is just a major pain, and I couldn't have asked for more. So Trevenant, all around, love this Pokemon, love its design, love what it does, love who it is on the inside. So Trevenant, gonna be my number 3. Let's move on now to number 2. Now, like I said, you gotta do something pretty special to get so close to my number 1. So what do you guys think a ghost would have to do to be my number 2? Become part steel type. Damn straight. Aegislash is gonna be my number 2 without a doubt now, for way too many reasons. For one, like I said, them up in the antes with what they're doing with ghost type Pokemon. I mean, you start off with blobs, then you say, hey, let's make some haunted household appliances. Okay, that's a little weird, alright. And then you go to coffins, to chandeliers, then you got trees and vegetables, and then swords? What? Yeah, I love the idea. But then on top of that, they had to go all crazy and give it offensive and defensive forms where it can use a shield even though it's a sword. Like, hello? Mind blown? Yeah, I don't get it, but it's great. Like, granted, X and Y wasn't the best game ever. As far as Pokemon that came out of X and Y, they really outdid themselves. They really outdid themselves, gotta admit. Speaking of outdoing themselves, let's talk about Aegislash competitively. Let's just say it was a little too much for some people to handle. Sword stance, weakness policy, priority, protect, its own version of protect. I mean, wow. And then a move, the ability to switch its defensive and offensive stats back and forth while lowering your opponent's attack. Come on now. Come on now. I understand it had to happen. Granted, does it still make me sad? Yeah. But hey, I mean, you know what they say. A Pokemon isn't good unless it's banned. Yeah, I'm just kidding. No one says that. But, in this case, happened to be true. So, Aegislash gonna be my number 2. Let's move on now to the number 1 spot. So, you ask yourself, if Aegislash wasn't your number 1 NewAge, who is your number 1 Ghost-type Pokemon? Well, that's an easy one. Pokemon that's been around for a long, long time. And that Pokemon is gonna be Dusclops. So, how I reacted to Bayonet earlier, how I described that reaction as a kid, just imagine that, but like times 1,000 for this thing. I don't know why, but when it came to Dusclops, it was not a matter of just wanting this thing. I needed this thing so bad. And let me tell you, they really make you work for this thing, especially back in the day when Pokemon only learned like a handful of moves and only learned one move like every 10 levels, and it was ridiculous. Well, yeah, like I said, they made you work for this thing. Duskull does not even evolve into this until level 38, and I'm pretty sure the only move you have to hit with is like Astonish? Maybe Nightshade? I don't know. But it was definitely a struggle. But I don't know what it was about this thing that made me want it so badly. But I don't even have anything to explain it. All I can say is it's my number 1. And I don't see it going anywhere soon for a long, long time. Especially after Aegislash came along. I mean, if a ghost Pokemon becoming part Steel type can't move its way into my number 1, I don't think it's possible. On top of that, all I have left to say is Dusknoir, you ask. No, not the same. It's not even on my list, man. Not even on my list. So, Dusclops gonna be my number 1, and that's gonna be my top 10. My top 10 Spooky the Ghost type Pokemon. So, go ahead and remember to leave your own top 10 Ghost type Pokemon down below, because you do know how much I love seeing that. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you want to see more, you can subscribe to my channel, NewAgeSteel, where I upload multiple videos every single day. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I post first-hand information on when I upload videos to the channel. So until then, I'm NewAgeSteel, keep on watching, and I'll see you guys next time.